Here for this afternoon, we're looking at grades improvement institutions, or those that make provision therefore, their registration and admission processes. I am Desire Kahiha and the host for your afternoon session today. And in the studio, I have two gentlemen who are going to be looking at this very topic for us and help us gain more ideas and understanding of what these institutions look like with regards to their processes. I have Mr. Freddy Kaukungwa, and he is the Marketing and Information Officer at the Namibia College of Open Learning, that's NAMCO. Good afternoon, Mr. Kaukungwa.
Good afternoon, Desire, and thank you for having me. And
we also have Mr. Cliff Willefeer, and he is the Director at the University Center for Studies in Namibia, that is Tucson. Good afternoon, Mr. Willefeer.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for taking the time out to be here with us. We do know that it is a crucial time of the year, especially for institutions like yours. And we dive right into it. We would like to know about your institutional mandates. Maybe we can start with Mr. Willefeer.
Yeah, with Tucson, in a simple sentence, it is to facilitate tertiary education.
Okay.
So we help people who want to go study and support them to reach their dreams in tertiary education.
Okay, well put, very simple but to the point. And Mr. Kaukungwa?
Yes, NAMCO, I will try and keep it as short as possible because our mandate is quite lengthy.
Yeah.
We are mandated by the Act 1 of 1997 that we need to contribute towards the social and economic development of Namibia by upgrading the educational levels of adults and out-of-school youth through programs of open learning or distance learning, by designing, developing and offering programs to address the diverse educational needs of our people.
Okay, okay. I like the fact that both address, you know, helping that individual who sees the need but not necessarily has all the means to get to their dreams. You create that means for them. Very, very, very good. We would also actually like you to then at this point just give us an overview of your admission requirements as well as the process of application and maybe just a few fees thereof. Mr. Willefeer?
Yes, our requirements for admission requirements is what government has set out in their policy.
Yeah.
So we can have grade 11s repeat 4 subjects, those, but it must be subjects that they've already done at school.
Okay.
And AS level can also repeat 3 subjects that they have done at school.
Okay.
Then we also have the opportunity for students who have not done a subject to come and take that subject as well. But then the number that they allowed is reduced. At AS level it's only 2, at ordinary level it's 3. We also have space for the old curriculum, the legacy curriculum. So the grade 12s of the legacy curriculum, if they're at higher level, they can come in on the AS level with the same subject, but they should have had a grade 4 mark in that subject. Or they can also take a new subject at AS level, but then they should have done that before. And also people who have only done ordinary level on the OS, on a legacy curriculum, they can also come and join grade 11 with us. So those are the prescriptions by government, and those are the students that we are allowed to take. When students come in and the admission, the fees is, we have an application fee of $100, but then our registration fee is $2,500.
Okay.
Tucson being a non-profit, not being supported by government or any other thing, we need to get the fees to pay our costs from the fees of the students, yes. Yeah. We also have application forms on our website, so they can just download it from the website as well.
Okay, okay. Yes. And with NAMCO?
Well, with NAMCO it will be similar to what Tucson have because we are using the same criteria set out by the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
So somebody who has had grade 11 before, did some subjects, and would like to improve them, they are welcome. Of course, people that had the old grade 12, the old curriculum, they are still able to come and enroll to improve their subjects. And then we have people that did grade 10, for example, in the old curriculum, but they have passed grade 10.
Okay.
Very important to note, the ones that have passed, they are able to come, enroll for grade 11 subjects. However, if you are doing the subject for the first time, like people that did it in grade 10, they are limited to 3 subjects per year.
Okay.
People that are repeating subjects that were in grade 11 previously, they are afforded to at least do 4 subjects. AS, people that had AS previously, they can of course come and enroll with NAMCOL, as well as people that did grade 12 on higher level. They are also able to come and do it at NAMCOL, at the AS level.
Okay.
Now our fees are quite affordable. We have a registration fee of $120. Once off payment, doesn't matter how many subjects you are enrolling for, as well as for grade 11 it is $320 per subject. For AS, the fees are slightly different. For per subject it is $430 per subject, whilst the registration fee currently stands at $800. However, it includes a pocket Wi-Fi with data for a year.
Okay. Sorry, I need to ask this question.
Yes.
Why the difference? Why is it that an AS student gets to have that fee, but understandably it's a higher fee,
Yeah.
but it's inclusive of a device, while the grade 11 student is not
Yes.
given that option of paying that extra, but also so as to also receive a device that they might also need for their studies?
Should the grade 11 student require a device, the devices are available for sale at a fee of $690.
But do they also have the annual?
Unfortunately, it is not mandatory for them. However, for the AS students, it is mandatory because they will receive online classes. And we do not want them to miss out on the online classes. And for that reason, it has been made mandatory for them to have a device and have data, just to ensure that they have access to the internet and can receive their classes online.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to stick with this for a while because I'm sure people are going to have, are having these questions.
Yes.
As in, now you've got AS level students or learners being being made for them for online classes.
Yes.
Why not the same for grade 11?
At this stage, we offer for grade 11 students, we offer what we call block tuition. That is where learners receive classes during the school holidays.
Okay.
Now, following the results that we've had last year, that were not as good as that we all wanted, a decision was taken that for this year, from this year, we will offer additional classes on a Saturday.
Okay.
2 Saturdays per month, 3 subjects per day for for the next 6 months.
Okay.
That is to provide additional support for grade 11s.
Okay.
However, for for the AS students, we are trying to assist them a little bit more, and by offering online classes for them. Of course, their subjects are a little bit more difficult than is offered at on the grade 11. So we are trying to assist them through offering online classes.
Okay. Okay. I'm happy. It was just a bit of clarity that one really would want to have, especially with the fact that on out there, we might not necessarily have the clear picture of it, and it runs the risk of creating negative perceptions. So it's always good to have us educate ourselves once we have the opportunity and the captains of industry in the studio for us to pose these questions so as to get the information for you and ourselves actually. We look at the fact that we spoke about the legacy program, for example. This comes with people who most likely have left school a couple of years ago. And this brings me then to my question that speaks to mature age entries. Do we have such in your institutions, specifically speaking to a certain age group? If we do, what are the criterias, the requirements, and also just your admission regulations around that? When do these classes commence? How does one go about applying for them? Mr. Willefeer.
Well, we don't have a mature, we can take everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not like a university where mature age entry is basically a reduced admission requirements. We don't have that. Okay. Our requirements are set by government, as we just explained to you now, and we just stick with those requirements. We've had adults attending class with us that wanted to improve, so we are open to that. Okay. Our classes, on the other hand, is every day, contact time, face-to-face. We have, on AS level, we have 7 hours of contact a week, and with ordinary level, 4 hours per subject per week. So it is quite an intensive program.
That's school. That is literally school.
Yes, it is. Yes.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I think really it helps to try and create all possible environments to just try and make sure that we boost that the youth to really get to the best that they can be.
Yes.
So it's good to know that. Mr. Kakungwa, do we have a mature age system?
We had something in place up to this year. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Education, through their directives, indicated that only people that meet the criteria as set out are able to enroll with us. Thus, mature age fell by the wayside. However, we are still in negotiations with the ministry, and it is something that hopefully will come back when we enroll for the next year.
Okay. That is a bit of better news, but as you said, you're still in negotiations.
We are still in negotiations.
We hope for the best. I
Yes,
refuse. I refuse to dwell on the negative, so we hope for the best. You are reminded that these are conversations that we're having here, as we always say at the Government Information Center, is about engaging you as we educate each other, we converse, and usually we would have our lines open, but unfortunately we cannot do that this afternoon. But we do hope that you will stay in our company, and hopefully you will be able to be well or better informed by the topic that we have this afternoon. We are looking at grade improvement institutions. We have the two in studio, that is Tucson and NAMCO, and we're discussing what is available with these two institutions and their operations. We get back to the current situation. We have seen with the advent of the AS level, it has come along with, or brought along, a lot of confusion, which many of us believe has somehow had, an influence on the negative results of our learners in the past few years. Now, we just want to then find out from you, as institutions that are really trying to help students to better themselves and hopefully get back into formal systems of schooling or, university. How ready were you or are you with regards to assisting these students? are you able to absorb these numbers? I think that's the very fundamental question. Mr. Olafir.
Yes, I mean, Tucson is known countrywide for if you come there and you work hard, you have great improvements, up to 4 symbols sometimes, you know. So our students do very well. And we still have space. It is, of course, that Tucson is expensive because of what I said to you, that we are non-profit and we are face-to-face, a lot of face-to-face, and that costs a lot of money to maintain. So it is expensive, and we have a lot of space still available at AS and ordinary level at the moment.
Okay. And NAMCO?
Well, NAMCO, we've finalized our enrollment period because we actually started on the 30th of January and we completed the process on the 15th of February.
Okay.
So the enrollment process is done. However, it is very important in answering your questions about were we able to absorb. We have made a lot of strides in trying to recruit or enroll as many learners as possible. Every year we recruit a certain amount of people, and then in planning for the next year we add a percentage, let's for example say a 10%, and then we plan accordingly. The results of the last exams were a bit shocking, but we managed with assistance of the Ministry of Education to get additional funds to order more books, and these books were able to assist us to help more people.
Okay.
In terms of people on the AS levels, we were able to accommodate much more learners on the AS levels, because what we did was we added centers outside of our normal centers where we assisted AS learners. Previously, we only assisted learners, AS learners, on our PEAT program. Now, the PEAT stands for Pre-Entry to Tertiary Education.
Okay.
It is a very specific program aimed at assisting learners to get tertiary or to get tertiary entry. However, we realized that there was a bigger need out there, and it was good that because of the results, we were able to put up centers, one in Keetmanshoop, one in Gobabis. Windhoek, of course, is dealt with at Yatuyama, and then we have one or two in the north, and one in Oshikoto region in Tsumeb. Those were centers that were specifically aimed at trying to absorb the amounts of students that are out there that wanted to do AS.
Okay.
I think we've been very successful in recruiting as many of the students out there that wanted assistance. However, we have found that due to people's financial constraints that there are many people did not make the enrollment period that we had, and there are still people out there that of course are crying out to be assisted. However, my colleague just indicated that Tucson can still assist. However, for NAMCO, we are at this stage
closed.
We are closed.
Okay. Infrastructure changes, Mr. Olafir. Your Tucson hasn't had to do any of that in light of the recent results. Infrastructure absorbing or opening up in more places and so on.
No, we haven't had the necessity to do that. Yes.
Okay. I come back to Mr. Kakungwa, and NAMCO over the years, for the longest period, has been seen to be for failures. now that, you know, as sad as it is what, you know, the picture is being painted as out there. Now we wanted to find out, as, you know, a player in this industry for such a long time, what have you then been able to do as an institution, or have been doing in order to try and demystify some of these myths and negative connotations that are attached to NAMCOL?
Well, you know, a few years ago, we, as part of our mandate campaign, we traveled throughout the country to inform people what we are all about. And this issue of NAMCOL as an institution for failures, we actually found that it is actually the opposite.
Okay.
A lot of people have, in the meantime, changed their minds on what NAMCOL is. NAMCOL is seen as a safety net and as providing an opportunity for people that would not get assistance elsewhere. In addition to that, since we started offering tertiary programs as well as technical and vocational programs, our footprint has increased amongst the Namibian people, and that has led to NAMCOL moving from an institution of failures to an institution that people prefer to come to. However, there is still some work to be done. However, we are confident that we are moving into the right direction in getting that perception away that NAMCOL is there for failures. Because NAMCOL does not only assist people that have failed, we assist a lot of people that have actually passed but want to improve the symbols that they have done. So it is not about failure, it is about assisting people to do better. And that is why we are there.
Okay. Mr. Olafir, Tucson, does it have any tertiary level courses that it offers?
No, we do not.
If memory serves me right, there was an indication of Tucson looking to add on a school to its portfolio. Has that been implemented for this year, or is it something that you're still formalizing?
It has been implemented for this year, because in Namibia, in our employment, there's a big problem. You know, our employment market in Namibia is so small that all the graduates from universities and vocational training centers cannot find work. So I think what the fourth industrial revolution has done, it has opened up the employment market to an international market. Because now you can sit in Namibia and work in New York, work in Japan, work in Germany, you know, do cybersecurity, programming. There's a lot of these computer-based skills that you can now do. So what it is, and I think that's maybe a push that we need to get, is to start looking at that market and start developing our learners for the international market, international employment market, because then the globe is your employment market, you know, and not just Namibia. So it is what we are looking at Tucson. So we have started a high school this year already, grade 8 and 9, and we started with grade 8 and 9, but we will be developing. I can't really say that we have done it yet because I don't have approval for it yet. But a pre-vocational subject in computer-based skills like 3D printing, like computer programming, like artificial intelligence, you know, all those sorts of things, Internet of Things, you know, those are the sort of things that we will now be developing at Tucson as a pre-voc, in order to develop the skills for learners so that when they leave school or university, that they can then compete in the world, in the global market. Because these also the different vocations that are there, like carpentry and joinery and welding and so on, they are also moving into an area where computers are playing a much larger role. So, you can't just be a carpenter anymore. You have to have these extra skills now to be able to do that. And those are the skills that I think are a bit lacking in the formal curriculum that we have at the moment. There's still computer studies and design and technology, but not quite what is needed, for us to be able to move into this field. So Tucson is moving into that direction to open up more skills, develop more skills, and make the skills available for those who graduate from Tucson. At the moment, these grade 8 and 9s, because we do not have the facilities yet, because we're still looking for funding to get those facilities at Tucson. We're working closely with the robot school here and developing the skills through them at the moment. Yes.
Okay. It's good. It's good to know that we have identified some and still working to identify more of some of the gaps that we find in our system. And it's not just about identification, but coming up with solutions to try and fill those gaps. It's very nice to hear that. Coming back to NAMCO's tertiary courses that you mentioned a bit earlier on, can you give us a little bit more insight on those?
Well, we started in 2004 with our tertiary programs. We offered one. Currently, we are about 12, 13. Wow. We are offering certificate courses, diploma courses, bachelor degrees. We have started this year by offering our first honors degree. We have postgraduate qualifications, and this year for the first time, we are offering a master's program. So NAMCOL has moved from a small educational institution to becoming almost an open university. So we are slowly working towards, every year we are adding more programs as is per the need of the people. You will see, if you look at our offering, that many of them are community based. And it is, we are slowly but surely trying to move people from a certificate to a diploma, to a degree, to an honors degree, to a master's program. So it is a progression that has taken time. We could have moved faster. Unfortunately, putting courses out there costs money. And as you know, money is a challenge in the educational sphere these days.
No, it's true. And also, I think time allows us to do a thorough job at it and not just haphazardly implement things. So it takes time, but you get there, and it's a proper product once it gets there. I think I would applaud NAMCO for that. Patience paid off, if I could put it that way. Staying with your courses, are your students eligible for NSFAF funding?
Yes, they are, provided, of course, that they meet the requirements of NSFAF.
Okay.
We, in addition to, just to add to, we also offer scholarships, because we have realized that for many of our students are unable to afford, even though they want to study, they are unable to afford. So we try and make the lives of about 50, 60 students per year easier by providing scholarships, apart from the ones that are assisted by NSFAF.
Okay. Mr. Olafir, non-profit, not funded, there are things that can get really costly for an organization like yourself, like yours. How do you then try and go about remedying things like the cost of books and study material? Is it something that the school itself provides and works to provide, or do you then work hand in hand with the parents with the purchasing of material like that?
Well, we have a comprehensive fee, which includes textbooks.
Okay.
So, you know, there's no extra funding beyond what is, it includes textbooks, uniform, everything, so, you know, in the fee.
Oh, okay, okay. You see, it's making a lot of sense now that we're dissecting this. Because out there, you sit there and you're like, wow, you're expensive. What are they thinking? But when you sit down in a platform like this, it really gets to have us have a better understanding of why is it 2,500. You know, it's the little things that you get to hear and pick up so that you can actually put your mind at ease because you now have gained understanding on that. But I also now want to look at things like challenges that you face in your institutions. Mr. Willowfield.
You know, when Tucson started the complementary course in 1985, we were fully funded, you know, because at that time it was before independence, and we were looking at, particularly at that time, students that were coming through poor education, who were capable and opening up possibilities for them to go to university. It was fully funded for about 10 years by German funders, and we've been, you know, we've been receiving funds now and then, lately not that much, to do that. And for us, it is actually very, very difficult, because our focus is on the academically skilled people who are financially struggling. You know, in other words, if you could say poor people. And the problem is actually catering to those. Because what we are doing is in between. You know, if our education system was working well, we would not have this break between school and university, because students would be doing well enough in school to go straight to university. So it's actually something that should be falling away, but it's growing, unfortunately. It's a growing number of students that are between school and university. They are not funded from school because they're out of school. They're not funded by NSFAF because they're not tertiary yet. So if, you know, our problem is that there's no funding mechanism for students between school and university where we are at the moment. And it makes us very difficult, and that is our challenge. You know, that for us to make ends meet as a welfare organization, which we are also registered for, and a non-profit, to be able to cover the costs of these students. And you basically then have to charge people the fees, and the fees are high, and you know, and not all, with our current economic situation, people just can't afford it. Now numbers are decreasing.
Wow, that's sad. That's actually very sad. Namco?
Well, it's a Namibian, or it's a global phenomena that finances are a challenge. We have found that we want, as I said earlier, we have a footprint throughout the country, and we would like to have facilities throughout this country, in every town, for example, but we are unable to do so. We had centers, for example, in Keetmanshoop, we have in Windhoek, we have in Gobabis, we have in Ochivarongo, Rundu, Katima Mulilo, Ongwediva, Omthia, Opur. However, we would like to have centers everywhere. We are currently in the process of building a center at the coast in Walfish Bay. We are extending our centers in Ongwediva to try and accommodate more people. We would like to have facilities in every town. Unfortunately, due to resources, we are unable to do so. We want to provide more courses to people. We want to accommodate more learners and provide them with even better product than that we are offering today. Unfortunately, again, it comes down to resources. However, as you said earlier, we are taking it step by step, and ultimately, in a few years, we'll be able to achieve our dreams of being everywhere and providing Namibians the education that they actually deserve.
So I think the bottom line is the dollar.
It is
The dollar is a problem. So I think it's at these points where we make clerical calls, you know, to organizations, companies that, you know, have, what do they call it, civic responsibility?
Corporate social
responsibilities, maybe, you know, could join the table and assist. Because at the end of the day, it's the Namibian youth who needs to become their employer in the future that we're striving to assist here. Time has run out as per usual. It's also another problem, that one. It never waits for us, never. And it's at this point that we need to round up, but I cannot do so without asking our panelists to give us their final remarks, and with doing so, just give us details where people can maybe contact their institutions to ask for more information. And also in the same breath, I would like to get back to one question that I almost forgot to pose to Mr. Olivier. You see it, Tucson still has a space. When is your enrollment period closing off? Maybe then people can still know how much time they have to approach your institution.
At the end of this month.
The end of February.
Yes.
So next week, Tuesday, basically. So you literally have 3 days left to try and still make a difference in your future this year. So closing remarks, Mr. Olivier?
Yes, we can be contacted. People can look at tucson.org is our website.
Okay.
Or our telephone number at our office here in Windhoek is 061 224 840.
Okay.
And a final message for me is that, you know, sometimes students, when they do not make it in school, they get despondent and people say, you are wasting a year.
Yeah.
They must never look at it like that, because they are very young, and 1 year in a lifetime is not a long time. And sometimes they go and enroll for a course that they don't really want to, because they don't have the results, the school results. I would say repeat and go for the course that you want to. Go for the course in which you can excel, because if you're going to go do a qualification that you do not want to, you're not going to be a good worker for this country. So go do something that you like, take the extra year, get the results that you need to get into that course, and don't think about wasting a year, rather thinking about improving and using the second chance that you get to do what you want to do.
Well put. I like those words. Mr. Topunga?
Well, if there are people out there that wish to contact NAMCOL, they can check out our website, which is www.namcol.edu.na, or they can call my office. The number is 061 320 5213. My final remarks would be, every year we experience that a lot of our learners enroll with NAMCOL, but somehow neglect to register with the Ministry of Education to be able to write exams. I would like to use this opportunity to call on everybody out there. You have until the 3rd of March to register for the exams, which is next week and Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Please,
Thursday.
please,
Third. Next
the 3rd.
Friday, yeah.
Please, 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 register for your exams, because if you do not register for the exams, you will be unable to write the exams. You would have wasted another year.
And the money.
And, of course, the money. So please, 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 go to your nearest examination registration point and register.
There we have it. Very, very strong words there. Let us not relax. If you have enrolled at NAMCOL, do ensure that you've done your registration for your exams as well. Those are two different things that you have the responsibility to ensure that you do. Mr. Olivier's words were quite well put. It is not a waste of a year. It is rather an investment in what it is that you're passionate about. Rather than risking becoming a depressive employee, it's better to have the passion in what you do and excel in your workplace if you do the right course that is fit for you. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us in the studio this afternoon. It was a great pleasure having this opportunity with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
From myself, Desire Kahiha, along with my production crew here in studio, it is bye-bye.